Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ed Colby again, and our final discussion board question. I chose to do it on the Second Amendment of the United States. The Second Amendment of the United States Constitution reads a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Such language has created considerable debate regarding the amendment's intended scope. On one hand, some believe that the amendment's phrase, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, creates an individual constitutional right for citizens of the United States. Under this individual right theory, the United States Constitution restricts legislative bodies from prohibiting firearm possession, or at the very least, the amendment renders prohibitory restrictive regulation presumptively unconstitutional. On the other hand, some scholars point to the prefatory language as well-regulated militia to argue that the framers intended only to restrict Congress from legislating away a state's right to self-defense. I hope that you all enjoy my video tonight, and I hope to work with you all very soon in the future. Thank you, and mahalo. The Second Amendment was created so that the states could form militias or armies to destroy insurrections or slave rebellions, because the federal government had no standing military for a long time. The Founding Fathers were frightened by a standing army because they feared coups. Without a standing army, the only protection the people and the government had were militias. The Constitution made sure that there was nothing to fear from the federal government because there was no standing army. They feared insurrection and invasions of all sorts. The militias were empowered by the Constitution to protect against these in the absence of a U.S. Army. Every single speaker in the U.S. House of Representatives who commented on the Second Amendment before its ratification spoke only about militias. That being said, the Founding Fathers seemed to think that guns and militia service were good for character building. They certainly didn't want to ban them. On the contrary, gun ownership and militia membership were required. The Militia Act of 1792 also explicitly directs the President's use of militias. That every citizen so enrolled and notified shall within 6 months thereafter provide himself with a good musket or firelock, a sufficient bayonet and belt, 2 spare flints in a knapsack, a pouch, with a box therein to contain not less than 24 cartridges suited to bore of his musket. However, the states had many laws regulating guns from the earliest days of the founding of America until the present day. Not only slaves and free blacks, but law-abiding white men who refused to swear loyalty to the Revolution were prohibited from owning guns. Even Dodge City, Kansas in the 1870s prohibited weapons from being carried. That law obviously wasn't very effective. The U.S. Constitution and subsequent laws provided for militias to protect the government while regulating guns. Guns were integral to the American experience, as every white male between 18 and 45 was required to own a gun and serve in a militia. Guns could be and were regulated. It is difficult to know with certainty how the Founding Fathers would react to the number of things as they are today, including the fact that we have an incredibly powerful standing army and that we are awash in handguns and weapons that have no relationship to militias. I feel capturing the entire essence of what the Second Amendment covers really gives us a very good insight into the deeper meaning that the Second Amendment carries. I personally am pro-gun, but I understand where people could have a view sway to the left or right in reference to how the Second Amendment's read. We can't read everything literally that our Founding Fathers wrote. Hence, last week's discussion on Thomas Jefferson, where do we take Thomas Jefferson's words literally in today's culture, or do we try to understand his underlying meaning? And I think when referencing the Second Amendment and its importance to the Bill of Rights, I think understanding the Founding Fathers' underlying meaning will help push forward the inevitable argument as to whether the Second Amendment should be restructured and there should be stipulations on guns. I hope you all really enjoyed my video today. I enjoy this class and I enjoy talking about the Second Amendment, and I feel very strongly about this amendment, this piece of the amendment, mostly due in part to the fact that as America our rights are utmost important. That's what I fight for every day, and I feel that that's what others should fight for every day. Thank you again. I hope you guys have a great end of the year. Mahalo, and I can't wait to work with you in the future.